Too small, too boring, maybe even too old. And then there's the watch. I'm sorry. We'll do the music thing now. I'm almost surprised by the amount of interest people have shown in this watch. My watch, the 2004 Rolex Explorer 114270. And I say almost surprised because, I bought the watch, so I'm interested. I was so interested that about 3 years ago, for my 40th birthday, I bought this watch for myself. And I was so excited to buy it for myself that I actually bought it 6 months early, which I only tell you so that you know that I'm actually younger than you thought I was. How do you do, fellow kids? And because people are always asking me about this watch, I'm going to give an honest opinion about what it's been like to own this 36mm Neo vintage Rolex for the last few years. And let's start from the start. The start. Almost as soon as I was interested in watches, I was interested in the Rolex Explorer. There was always something very cool about it. There's a simplicity and an elegance to this watch that I like. And even though I'm a cynic and a realist and a jerky jerk face, I think I was charmed by Rolex and the romanticism of a watch for explorers. Hiking, traveling, camping, all those exhausting and dirty things. And the first Rolex Explorer I had was not this 36mm 114270, but actually the 39mm 214270. Super cool piece with a new bracelet and the Easy Link clasp. Obviously a great watch, great quality, but it didn't really charm me. It wasn't for me. And I still felt like, for me, 36mm was the right size for an Explorer. Again, just for me. It's so tiring to hear people say that one size or one reference is better than another. It's not true. Now you're the jerky jerk face. It's not better, you just prefer one size or reference. So the 36mm Explorer was on my mind, and I spent definitely too much time trying on used Explorers in stores and bothering friends and salespeople and just being indecisive. The purchase. And at some point in early 2021, I decided that the 114270 was going to be my 40th birthday present to myself. Now, a few things went into this self-indulgent decision. First, I knew I wanted a watch to commemorate the beginning of the end of my life. And obviously it was going to be a watch because that's what money is for. Second, I wanted a watch that was classic, and I mean stylistically it wasn't so ornate that it could only be worn with a certain outfit or on certain occasions, or so stylized that it would go out of fashion. This was a watch that I was hopefully going to have all the way until my untimely death at age 47 from spontaneous combustion brought on by YouTube comments. And third, it was time to finally try a 36mm Explorer. I spent years thinking about it and trying it and I just take a risk already. And I did. I bought this watch on Chrono24, and I don't know anyone at Chrono24, and I'm not suggesting that you use that site, but I did. And when this watch arrived, it was just as expected. No, actually, it was better than expected. Not the condition, but the feeling of taking it out of the box, sizing the bracelet, and finally putting it on. It just felt right on my 7-inch wrist. And speaking of the box, a few people in comments have asked me about this watch box. This is indeed what Rolex boxes looked like in 2004. If you don't believe me, do an image search for 2004 Rolex box. They look like something from the 60s, but they're actually really from the early 2000s. And Rolex boxes from 2024, those look like something from the 90s. On the wrist. So let's talk about what it's like to wear this watch, because the fit and the size, that was one of the reasons I didn't buy this watch earlier. I just wasn't sure that it was going to be the right size for me, that it might look too small. And I know styles change with the times. I know this because I'm still waiting for long cargo shorts to come back in style any day now. So yeah, styles change. And when the first Rolex Explorer came out in 1953, a 36mm watch wasn't small, it was actually kinda large for a time-only watch. But that's mostly not the case anymore, and I know how much I enjoy wearing large watches like my Panerai PAM 111 and my Omega Ploprof. I know I'm good with big, but could I be good with smaller? Not small, just smaller on my 7-inch wrist. The answer is an equivocal yes, mostly a yes, and I'm going to explain you. I love how this wears, I love how this looks, starting with the bracelet. This era of Rolex bracelet is my favorite. I'd say the bracelets from 5-digit Rolex watches, but this is actually a 6-digit watch, and maybe it's the first 6-digit Rolex watch. But my point is that I really like the bracelets that are modern enough to be comfortable and use screws and have solid end links and don't feel flimsy, but still have hollow links and stamped bracelets. It's light, it's comfortable, it has a few micro adjustment spots, it's just great. Now, when I see photos or videos of this on my wrist, I think it looks perfect for me. I think it's classy and tasteful, and this might sound weird, but I think it looks really kind of confident. If I saw someone around my size and my age wearing this at a party, I'd be like, well, that right there is the second coolest person here. But I equivocated. I said the size is mostly a yes for me. Where this watch becomes a no for me is on a strap. On my wrist, which again is... Actually, how large is my wrist? 6.5 inches, 7 inches, or 7.25 inches? To select your answer, just say your choice out loud right now as loudly as possible so YouTube can hear you. On a strap, especially a pass-through strap, I think this looks too small for me. For people with smaller wrists, it looks great. An Explorer on a strap is hot. On the right wrist, which is not mine. Watches look bigger on bracelets. I don't know why. Probably something to do with the Coriolis effect. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. But on a bracelet, I love this watch. And I'm fine if you don't like how it looks on me. I wear watches for me, not for you. Shoot, I don't even make videos for you. I don't even know you, man. Condition. This 2004 Explorer is the oldest watch I've ever bought. I like vintage watches, but I don't want to have to worry about a watch that I'm wearing. I want a sports watch to have some shock resistance and some water resistance. So one of the first things I did when I bought this watch was take it to a trusted watchmaker to have it serviced. You should probably do this with any used watch you buy, unless you bought it from a watchmaker you trust who just serviced it themselves. Two things I wanted from the servicing. One, I wanted to feel safe wearing this around, especially in the water, so I just went under the assumption that this watch had never been serviced and was not fully water resistant. And the second thing, I wanted to verify that this watch was authentic. I know Chrono24 guarantees authenticity of the watches sold there, but you still have to verify the watches for yourself. So I did, and it is, and I am. As for how the watch is running, it was running great before I had it serviced, about plus 2 seconds per day, and now it's running about plus 1 second per day. The design. Obviously, I like the design of this watch. That's why I bought it, and that's why I wear it. I think it's classic and stylish and can be worn just about anywhere. But there are a couple things I kind of wish were different. First, and I guess it's part of the design, it's the anti-reflective treatment on the crystal. It could be better. It's not bad, but comparing this to a modern Rolex, you notice the difference. And another thing I like better about the newer Explorer is that the numerals are filled with lume. The 114270 My Explorer, it always should have had lume in the numerals. These white lines in the numerals, they look like lume, but they are not. Now, I do prefer the size of the older numerals, that they're smaller than the newer 36mm Explorer, and maybe that's why the newer watch has larger numerals to fit in a meaningful amount of luminescent material. But other than the lack of lume in the numerals and the mediocre AR treatment, I just adore how this watch looks. The black glossy dial, the boxed crystal, the polished bezel, polished and relatively narrow bezel. I really like the proportions here. And after 3 years, I'm still really into this watch. What does this mean for you? I get a lot of messages from people asking me if they should get a certain watch or which watch might be best for them, and I think the Explorer might be the top watch I get questions about. I get that. It'll fit most wrists, the prices aren't crazy, and there are now a lot of variants to choose from, both new and used. But come on, I don't know you. Anyone who tells you what watch is best for you, don't listen to them. Unless it's me, of course, and I don't want the job. What I can tell you, though, is what I've said in this video. The good and the okay. There's really no bad. There's just minor complaints that haven't stopped me from wearing this watch a lot. This old, boring, small watch.